Yes, I am now.
Okay, perfect. Now send the ID to the person you want to in the meeting.
Yes, I did.
That's it. Did you send the ID?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wait for the person to get into the meeting. Maybe you have to give him the permission to get into the meeting. So you just accept, click on accept, and the person will be able to get into the meeting.
Hang on. So guys, I'm going live in a minute, and I just wanted to do it this way as well. So I'm going to be Zooming Cullen Smith in 5 minutes. Sorry, what do I do? Do I give him the Zoom link?
You have the Zoom link?
Do I give him the Zoom link? I gave him the ID. What else do I give him?
No, just the ID.
All right. Well, he's not on there yet.
Okay. You set a password?
I don't know. I don't have a password. What password?
Okay. Can you send me the ID? Check, please.
The ID.
The ID of the meeting.
All right. Wait a minute.
Oh, this is the Zoom. This is the link, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Let me check if I can get it.
There's the ID.
Yeah, let me check if I can get in the meeting. Give me a second.
My keypad is not working. My keypad is not right-clicking. Again, it's not working here. Nothing's working. Nothing is freaking working.
Give me a second.
All right. All right. There you go. All right. It's all good. All right, we're ready to go in about 5 minutes, folks. Sorry about this waste of time. Camera set up.
Okay. It's asking me a password, a passcode. You have it?
No, I don't understand.
Okay. Go to the website, Zoom website.
Yeah.
And see the settings of Zoom.
The settings of Zoom.
Yeah. You'll be able to see the password.
No. Settings. All right. At the top, Zoom preferences.
Yeah.
Preferences. No.
In the middle, in the middle, you schedule. Click on it and.
Oof, I don't know, man. Let me just try this again. Zoom meeting. Okay, is it the first page?
Yeah.
No. Join a meeting. Okay, press join a meeting. Should I put the ID in there?
Yeah.
I just press join a meeting.
Well, but you already have a meeting, right?
Yeah, but all right, join a meeting.
You have already a meeting, so just click on start meeting. The meeting you scheduled, you have to click on start meeting because you already scheduled a meeting.
Yes. All right. So I can see myself. I've started the meeting. It's started.
Okay.
So that guy, he's got the password.
So he had password, right?
Yeah. No. Just the ID. I gave him the ID.
Okay. Now go to the window of the meeting.
To the what?
The window of the meeting. The meeting in Zoom.
The meeting. The window of the meeting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I think you click on guests or people.
People, guests, no. No.
There's an option. Give me a second.
Participants?
Participants, yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
And then there's an option. Invite.
All right, invite.
And copy link.
Which one? Default mail, Gmail, Yahoo Mail. I need to put his email in there.
No, click on contact.
Huh?
Contacts, and at the bottom, you'll be able to see copy, invite him. Click on it.
It just says invite, mute all, and more. There's just 3 buttons. Yeah. Invite, mute all, and more.
Oh, I can see it. I can see. In that window at the bottom, it says meeting passcode. Can you see it?
No. No meeting password.
You know what? I'm gonna end this call and I'm gonna call you again.
Okay.
For the video.
Okay. All right. Sorry about this, guys. Oh my God. Oh, how difficult. Yeah.
Okay. No, but can you answer on your phone?
Huh?
Can you answer on your phone to show me your screen?
I'm on the computer.
Yeah, I'm gonna call you again and answer.
Okay. Fucking hell. Fucking Jesus. Fucking hell.
Yeah. Can you show me your...
Yeah, there.
Yeah. At the bottom, let me see the options you have. Invite, click on it.
Yeah.
What happens? Yeah, that there. At the bottom.
Yeah.
There's meeting password.
Okay, meeting password. Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, copy that password.
Okay.
Give that password to the person.
How do I fucking copy that now? It won't copy. 089902 089902 089902 089902 sent 089902 08. Oh my God. Password. 0. Huh?
Give me the password to see if I can get into the
089902. Okay, he got my message. You got my message.
I'm in the meeting right now, so that's what the person will be able to
Okay, I'll wait for him to get on.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave the meeting now.
Okay, Bella. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
All right, here we go. This is not going to be good. This is not going to be good. This way. All right, I'm still waiting for Cullen. I haven't been 100%. This camera right here. Right here. Okay. Good. Hey. Good, good. I can share screen. All right, folks, sorry for this boring intro, but I just want to be sure that this is going to be live. I want this to be live. It's very important for me to be live because I'm not going to try to be argumentative or to debate here. I'm just going to have a discussion with Cullen and settle a lot of things that need to be settled. A lot of you people, a lot of you folks know that we've had, I'm ready. I gave you the meeting password, dude. There it is. See you there. I'm not going to try and destroy anyone, guys. That's just the way I talk when I talk like like someone that's, it's not my style. It's just not my style. I'd rather be nice, but sometimes, as we all do, we all lose it, right? And this is what I do. I'm in the public. So you see me losing it in the public. I don't see you losing it in the private, but you do too, okay? You are a mirror of me. What you don't like in me, you don't like in you, okay? What I don't like in Cullen is what I don't like in me, because Cullen's degenerate. And that means I must have some degeneracy. because I ain't no guru, right? We all know that. I ain't no guru, never want to be. Okay, I'm still waiting for Cullen to get in. Let me see my YouTube channel. Yep, there I am live. Okay. Good. All right, let's get back to Cullen. I'm going to be as nice as I can, but sometimes I'm nice, sometimes I'm nasty. So I think it all depends on him, because he's the one that's caused all the trouble, not me. He has been lying about me and made accusations. Hello?
All right. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. Good deal.
All right.
Seems to be good.
Okay. Well, firstly, before we begin, I want to tell everybody that I'm not here to fight, debate, or argue. I'm here to discuss and clear up a lot of stuff. Now, I think you'll agree with me that a lot has transpired in the last 6 years between Cullen and I, and that's going to be sorted out right now before we go into the discussion. And I'm not going to debate. I swore I would never debate, and I fell 1 month ago with FTFE channel, and that was a debacle, and it was ridiculous, and it doesn't work, especially when someone just wants to debate to win for their position, but not for the position of the truth. They don't care about the truth. So I don't know about you, Cullen. I really don't. You've said I was a shill for 7 years, so I returned the compliment. So let's see if you are or not. Today is the day. Now, first of all, I would like to share my screen and begin with what I think is the reason for why we are here today, and what we'd like to see Cullen clear up. Perhaps he has got an apology or something. Is this your post here, Cullen? Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. Did you say here, there, you've been saying this for years and years, he took a deal from the government in jail and was raped or something. That changed him, made him a horrible person. He took a deal to get out early, if promised, to push flat earth disinfo psyop to the public. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm not the only one making that claim, nor am I the originator of that claim. There's actually been, a lot. Our entire community had been speculating, as to what happened to you while you were in jail, because you never made any public clarifications as to what actually happened to you in jail. So all we had to go by was just hearsay and speculation. And I'm not the only one making that claim. You can ask anyone involved in our audience or in our sphere of information. They've all been speculating, yeah, man, something happened to him while he was in there, because when he came out, all of a sudden he was, I was not the only one saying that the earth wasn't flat and simply, I never attacked you or anything like that. I don't do that. I don't do ad hominem attacks, at least not at first or solely. I do them in conjunction with the actual facts and research and evidence. So numerous people had been sharing information as to why the earth is objectively clearly not flat, and that really upsets you. Just the simple information that really upsets you, so you started coming out on Facebook attacking everybody. And so I've got my full lawsuit archives, because just to clarify, I am filing a public defamation lawsuit against you, to clarify that right up front, because of what you've posted publicly about me and on Facebook, and not just me, numerous others, including Graham Hancock, Ruth Ramos, but specifically the claims that you made against me were absolutely egregious and horrendous. And so, just to clarify, I am going to file a public lawsuit for public defamation for what you wrote about me.
And what was that I said?
Well, here, let's pull up my archives. Oh, so your screen is shared. I don't know if my screen is shared. Let me share my screen also. I don't know if I can host disabled participant screen sharing. But yeah, so I've got my whole archives here for everyone to see. I've got the entire timeline laid out. beginning with our correspondence on Skype, where we used to have friendly discussions where I would send you stuff, some of the articles and videos that I had written, and you were saying doing a great job, brother. And then it progressed to you deciding to voluntarily give me your Facebook password to post my content on your Facebook because you liked it and enjoyed it. And I was a supporter of you as well. And not only that, I respected you at the time, and I had nothing but nice things to say. And then eventually, so I do have all of these screenshots here in my archives of, these are my files that I will be using to file a public lawsuit for defamation against you, about what you've said to me. And I've got the entire timeline laid out here. I'll be making my own video about this, so I won't go into depth on that here. I'll be making my own video fully explaining all of that for everyone to see.
I just asked you, what did I say?
Well, it's actually so horrendous that I can't actually see it on a video stream because I imagine we intend to post this on.
What I said. What was the essence?
Well, you said that I am a pedophile and that I rape and have raped children, and so yeah, unspeakable acts that are too egregious to even say verbally, because apparently now this video can be compromised and probably removed from YouTube or Facebook or anywhere because of those statements that have been written, which are too egregious to even speak publicly, because now this content will be removed and demonetized for speaking those verbal terms, which you clearly wrote about me. I'm not sure exactly which one it is here, but it's numerous times you've said it. Numerous times you've convinced, right here, everyone can see it. Where you've said this publicly about me and everyone else. You've said it numerous times. And the worst part about it is, I don't know if you're familiar with what St. Augustine had to say about backbiting and public defamation, but I've got screenshots about what his quotes on public defamation and how it is literally the worst crime that you can commit against someone, because unlike other things that can be proven false, once someone is slandered, their reputation can never, ever be restored. Even if it's admitted and apologized and proven false, it doesn't matter. In the eyes of the public, one's reputation will never, ever be restored. And unfortunately, your audience, literally, they treat you like a cult leader, and they believe absolutely everything that you say, regardless of whether they don't care if you provide evidence for it or not. Unlike my channel and my audience, I make no claims without providing solid evidence for it. But on your channel, in your audience, they just believe everything and anything you say, and you tell them to. You tell them to just believe everything that you say, and they do. And they go around repeating it, and they come over to my channel attacking me and publicly defaming me and slandering me as well. And it was very disappointing to see that a large portion of my audience also believed that about me, based on what you said, which is totally false and based on zero evidence whatsoever. So yeah, but so I've never done that to you. I've never publicly defamed or slandered you.
What is this? What are you talking about? You're saying that I took a deal in jail. That's
First of all, that may be an untrue statement, but it's a speculation. I'm not claiming that as if it's 100% truth. It's a speculation that not only myself, but everyone else had been wondering about. And it's a likely possibility because of the evidence of how you were totally different before you went into jail, and you were completely different when you came out of jail, based on your behavior, the things that you were doing and saying on Facebook, ridiculing and attacking and slandering, publicly defaming not just me, Ruth Ramos, people like Graham Hancock. I mean, literally one of the nicest, sweetest, most credible people who is, on the planet today. He's done some of the most credible work that anyone could ever, justify. And, and the things you've said about all of us. And so that leads us to believe, what is the motive behind it? Why? What would cause you to do this? And I understand that going to jail is a horribly traumatic experience, and we all understand that, and we all had sympathy for that. But I didn't want to spend too much time on all of this. I actually wanted to get just simply into the actual research, the actual facts, and the actual information to show why the earth is not flat. And simply, that's what I did from the very beginning. And then there were no ad hominems. There was nothing like that. We were all friends at the time. And it was you are the one who came out and took that as some sort of personal attack because it's an ideological position that you hold. It's a religious, heavily religious ideological identity that you hold, as well as not just you, almost all flat earthers also hold this identity. They believe that it's their sole identity and it is their whole ideology, to where if it was proven false, their entire sense of self, they've built their entire works, their entire personalities, their entire careers. You, my friend Dream Rockwell, many others have built their entire sphere around the flat earth being true, to where if it happened that it turns out that it's not flat, which it actually isn't objectively, we can get into that, but if it wasn't flat, your whole sense of self would go by the wayside, because all the stuff that you've done for the past 7 years would therefore be garbage. It would be worthless. And so that sense is too daunting for someone to actually face and to confront, or to even simply fathom.
I can't, please, you're saying so much fucking rubbish. You sound fucking ridiculous. Shut up and listen to me, okay? I haven't changed since 2011. I've always been nasty, you stupid idiot. Go back to all my videos and you'll see how I treat people just like this. When they look stupid and when they act stupid. I'll be claiming a counterclaim against you because you have lied and made it appear that I did strike a deal with the government. That is your lie. I've got evidence of that. I will counterclaim. I'm going to enjoy going to court with you, Cullen, and I'm going to enjoy this discussion a lot because you're so cocksure that you are right now upside down spinning and hurtling at Mark 88 when you can tell that you're sitting in your room dead still and you still think that you're hurtling through space. You have to be cock-fucking stupid to think that this earth is actually moving. And it's not a religious belief that flat earthers have. It's ancestral to correct your stupid ass. It is ancestral. Your ancestors, stupid, the Smiths, they knew that the earth was stationary and flat up until Copernicus. Did you know that up until Copernicus, almost every single culture was flat earth and stationary? No, you didn't know because you're too fucking stupid. They all did. The Egyptians did, the Mayans did, the Hebrews did, the Jews, the Indians, they all did.
Okay, so first off, let me start off. So now we're getting into the actual information. And just to clarify, you can counter, rebut whatever claims you want, but I've never publicly defamed you. Saying the speculations that I've made, that's not public defamation. That's not claiming that you have done something when, you know, it's not the same as what you did to me by calling me a child rapist, nor
it's exactly the same.
No, it's not.
You tried to ruin my reputation. Yes, you did.
No, I did not. No, I did not. I simply made a logical speculation based on the inferences that could be made based on the evidence that we had available to us at the time. And that was not something personal. That was not something against you. I've never made character assassinations against you or anything like that, like you have for me.
That's a character assassination if I ever saw one.
No, it's not. Speculating about what may or may not have happened to you in jail, which nobody knows except for you.
You're not speculating. You said here he took a deal. That is a statement. You have made a statement here.
Yes, but my intention was it was actually a speculation because nobody can know. Obviously, nobody can know that for sure. We'll see what the judge says
about that. Let's move on. Every single culture. When did the Earth start moving? Who was the first person to start the moving of the Earth? Let's see how history is.
Okay, as far as documentation, to where we knew, as far back as we knew that the earth was a sphere, goes back to the Eratosthenes of the ancient Greeks, had the first documentation that the earth was a sphere. But first of all, before we get into that, I want to just educate people as to how I know this isn't a debate, it's just a discussion, but the way a discussion is supposed to go for the engagement of our audience so that they can remain engaged without wasting anyone's time, because I don't want to waste anyone's time, is to present the best quality evidence right up front, the best arguments right up front, without getting into like the religious and historical stuff. That's all erroneous to what we can actually objectively show and prove. So that would be at the back end of the discussion, getting into the ancients, the mythology, the cosmology, and all of that stuff. I know that's your main argument. That's pretty much the only thing you have to present. So, but that's actually a weak and it's erroneous argument. So that goes at the back burner, and we can cover that last, if anything.
No,
But I've got all of so,
no,
so
it's not weak and it's not erroneous, fuckwit. All of our ancients, every single fucking one of them, including yours, dunce, you are laughing at them and they are crawling in their graves at how fucking stupid you are, that you think you're upside down fucking spinning with this.
because
they all did, every single one of them. And Aristotle was a Jesuit. They doctored Aristotle's books in the 1500s. The globalists.
Aristotle was far preceding Aristotle far preceded the Jesuits. The Jesuit society did not exist when
the Jesuits doctored his books, you dickhead. The Jesuits doctored his books.
Okay, well, to back up that claim, you
would Neoplatonic academies, because the Neoplatonists, like Porphyry, were teaching a flat stationary Earth. See Porphyry, see Iamblichus, the Neoplatonists, whom were shut down, and then the Aristotelian globalists began their movement of globalism. Global agenda, global warming, global jabbing your ass, global swabs, global community.
These are all erroneous, baseless claims, Santos. These are all baseless assertions that you're making, and they're erroneous. They are irrelevant because it doesn't matter what the ancients or the old medieval people thought. What matters is what we can show and prove right now. It doesn't matter what the ancients thought. That's totally erroneous. It's irrelevant. It makes no difference as to what we can now prove, what we can now show objectively with our own eyes, with our own tools, with our own measurements. The way this entire world has been built, our entire civilization has been built upon the knowledge of geodesy and the knowledge of the dimensions and the motions of the earth and how we can circumnavigate the globe.
Exactly. So they built all those Gothic periods when they knew that they were on a stationary flat earth. Then
that's a baseless claim. That's a baseless claim. They did all these things without thinking the earth was flat, because they knew the earth was not flat since the ancient times when they built. So we can, all right, if you want to use that line of argument, we can get into the actual evidence. But what I don't want to make is baseless assertions. I want to show all the actual evidence for the claims behind that we can show people so they can make up their own minds with their own eyes. I'm not about telling people things and making claims and expecting people to just believe us. That's what I do on my channel, is I show people things and let them see it for themselves and make up their own minds. I don't sit here and use words and tell people to believe what I'm saying. So first off, we could get into into your hero, Giordano Bruno, who was not a flat earther whatsoever. And he was the one directly preceding Copernicus, who was the first one to propose a heliocentric model. Came from Giordano Bruno, which I haven't heard you speak anything about Giordano Bruno since you got out of jail, because he's not a flat earther. And he proved that the earth was not flat, and he's the first one.
I've mentioned it countless times. Does that show that you've been listening to everything that I've published? Thank you. What a compliment. So you've been listening to everything that I've published, but you happen to miss how many times that I've said that Giordano Bruno was working for the Jesuits?
What's your evidence for that?
Because the Jesuits created the stupid globe, didn't they? They are the ones who made.
What's your evidence for that? Because the Jesuits are the one who promoted the myth of the flat Earth back in the 1500s, such as we know that Christopher Columbus knew that the Earth was not flat, and that they knew that the Earth was a globe when he sailed to America. And so the Jesuit Society are the ones who pushed the myth that the Earth was flat in order to cover up their trade routes of the spice trade to other foreign countries, so that no other just random plebes could use their circumnavigation routes to interfere with their global spice trade. So they knew that the Earth was a sphere. They had knowledge of circumnavigation of the globe since the ancient sites were built on the alignment, circumpolar alignment of the globe, from Angkor Wat to in Cambodia to the Great Pyramid of Egypt, which is the very center of the world's landmass. The mathematical encoding. I mean, here I can show you all of this evidence in my 4.5-hour video that I've got time stamped here to show. Let's see, from the revelation of the pyramids. Let's see where it is. Documentary Revelation of the Pyramids. I'm sure you remember that documentary. It's one of the best ones out there, where they show the ancient circumnavigation and knowledge of the globe.
Using astrolabes, which are based on flat Earth.
No, astrolabes have nothing to do with flat Earth. They are based on the spherical geometry.
Listen, you already made a big lie. Here's what Martin.
No, hold on.
Here's what Martin Luther said about Copernicus. He says, there is talk of a new astrologer who wants to prove the Earth moves and goes around instead of the sky, the sun, the moon, as if somebody were moving in a carriage or ship might hold, that he was standing still and the rest, while he and the earth and the trees walked and moved. But that is how things are nowadays. When a man wants to be clever, he must needs invent something special. And the way he does it just needs to be best. The fool wants to turn the whole of the art of astronomy upside down. However, the Holy Scripture tells us, so did Joshua tell the sun to stand still and not the earth. So Martin Luther was a Jesuit. He's clearly a flat earther, and he was opposed, just as John Calvin said, we will see some who are so deranged, not only in religion, but also in things reveal their monstrous nature, that they will say that the sun does not move and that it's the earth which shifts and turns. Calvin was laughing his head off. It's this fuckwit Jesuit and all their demonic global.
Yeah, because okay, read from scripture and word of mouth and hearsay all you want. That is not science, Santos. That is pure religion. That is pure religious dogma. Quote whoever you want. Here, let me read a quote from Giordano Bruno for you, since you're such a fan.
Forget about Giordano Bruno. He was a Jesuit, and
I want the audience to know and to hear all sides of the information. I want them to hear for themselves. So, to comprehend the achievements of Giordano Bruno, the state of astronomical knowledge in the 16th century must be understood. Up to the time of Copernicus, Western Europe had accepted the Ptolemaic universe by that time. The Earth was a central ball, and I'm screen sharing here if you will accept the participant screen share so people can see it for themselves. The Earth was the central ball around which 7 transparent spheres glided according to the Ptolemaic model, carrying the moon, the sun, the 5 naked eye planets, an 8th sphere called the fixed stars. It would be fruitless to dwell in the picturesque. Okay, let's get to the Earth was motionless. The day and night were caused by the revolution of the heavens as opposed to the motion of the Earth itself. So their model was ass backwards, where they thought that the entire celestial heavens were moving and the Earth was stationary, which what is the mechanism by which that would imaginably be possible? What mechanism would cause the entire celestial sphere to be moving and producing all of the observable phenomenon that we can now document and simply log, and we can observe for ourselves, including eclipses, day and night, seasons, axial precession of the equinoxes, axial tilt, axial precession, which includes precession of the polar stars, circumpolar stars, including southern, all on and on and on. I mean, we could go on and on and on. But so the ridiculousness that the entire celestial sphere would be somehow moving and doing all that, as opposed to simply everything else is stationary and the Earth is rotating. But let's see, where does Giordano Bruno came in there with his quote, he tore down the boundaries of the old system and envisioned something remarkably similar to the modern universe. For him, space was boundless, was filled with countless solar systems. he quoted, "There are innumerable suns and an infinite number of planets which circle around their suns, as our 7 planets circle around our sun. We do not see planets revolving around other stars because of their great distance or small mass. Bruno's universe had no center. In the universe," he wrote, "there no center and no circumference exists, but the center is everywhere." Because, in other words, that's describing a sphere. There is no the sphere. Every point of the universe is the center. Elaborating upon this point, he remarked, "As to us on the earth seems to be the center of the universe. So its inhabitants of the moon will appear as such. Each world has its center. Each has its up and down. These differences are to be assigned relatively. And in other words, there is no objective up and down in space. It is up and down is relative to your point in space. So in other words, you keep saying, oh, well, how does the water stay on the, he's upside down on the globe. Well, on a globe, every point is down because the center of mass is at the center of the object. So every point is down. So you're always on top of the globe, no matter which point on the globe you are. This is basic physics. This is basic science.
And yet, when you're at Ecuador, the Earth's linear motion is 1,045 miles. But when you're landing an airplane in Boston at the 60-degree latitude, it's only doing about 600 miles an hour. So, which are the instruments in the airplane that they use to make for the adjustments for that?
I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know that, but we could consult with Wolfie6020 on YouTube, who is a Royal Air Force pilot, rescue pilot from the military, who is one of the most competent and credible individuals on the internet or pretty much on the planet, who answers all of these questions on his YouTube channel. You can simply ask him. He will show you live from his cockpit, show you the instruments and explain the instruments that he uses and the calculations that they use to determine all of those things. He fully explains that on his channel. And he also uses his commercial pilot's license to look up all the flat earthers' commercial pilot's license and show that they are all lying about their licenses and credentials. And they're all nothing but, at the best, they are amateur pilots, meaning that they do not have formal training on the spherical geodesy of the globe or commercial flight plans or how to navigate internationally using global flight plans. So in other words, flat earthers cannot navigate the globe. They can't sail from between countries using a flat earth model. So this is the main evidence that we need to talk about right up front is show me your fully functional model of a flat earth that includes every observable phenomenon that we can look and observe in nature, including circumpolar stars, southern star trails, southern constellations, solar and lunar eclipses, day and night, seasons, equinoxes, and solar analemmas, on and on and on. All of these phenomena, global flight plans, Eötvös effect, Coriolis effect. And so there's a lot of arguments to debate there. But the point is that flat earthers do not have a single functioning model. They've got numerous different models proposed. Oh, is it a flat infinite plane? Oh, is it the azimuthal equidistant? Truth Heresy has a bunch of jokes about that. But is it the azimuthal equidistant map, which is actually based off of a spherical globe? No, most flat earthers don't even understand that. The azimuthal map is derived from from spherical geometry. That's what an azimuthal equidistant map is. But so the point is that flat earthers don't have a single fully functional model that explains and fully illustrates and describes every single phenomenon we observe in nature, whereas the sphere checks off every single one of those boxes. And so that's why me and my friend Noah have this 4.5-hour documentary research film fully explaining and going into depth and in a very friendly way, not making fun of everybody, simply explaining all of Eric Dubé's 200 proofs, Earth not a globe. We go through every single one of the 200, and then all of the ones beyond that can't be explained by the flat Earth, that are only explained by a globe model, including, but so, you wanted to get into the ancient stuff. So if you'll allow my screen to share here for just a moment, I will show you this brief clip from the Revelation of the Pyramids documentary that everyone can see for themselves just how much the ancients knew about the spherical geometry in order to build their temples on a straight line across that spanned across the globe. They were all built on a straight line.
And so what does that mean? They're all facing north and south. Well,
We'll see. We'll just let the evidence speak for itself.
that's because the Earth is stationary. So getting back to our original question. So this guy reckons he's going to come up with the instruments that they use to adjust their speeds and make all the different landing calculations because the Earth is spinning way slower in Alaska.
Yes. Commercial pilots, their instruments do account for the rotation of the Earth. Yes. But
for the slowing down of the linear velocity, do they account for the slowing down of the linear velocity when they are landing on a south-north runway?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, I'd like to see that. I'll accept that as your answer for now.
Okay. Yes. So, go to Wolfie's 6020s channel, and he will show you with his instrumentation live from his cockpit. You can do he will live stream it for you to see, and he will explain exactly, and he'll show you the handbook manuals that they use to calculate those calculations into the instruments that they use in their cockpits. Commercial pilots do account for all of those calculations of the rotation of the Earth in their flight plans. Yes, they do.
Explain to me how it takes 8 hours to go from Paris and 8 hours to go to New York when the Earth's going 1,000 miles in the westerly direction. How is it 8 hours when you're going toward the Earth's movement? What calculations do they factor into that so that they don't get it wrong?
I don't know. I don't even understand the question that you're asking. I don't think you even understand the question that you're asking.
Okay, let me do it again. Real clear. It takes 8 hours to fly from New York to Paris. That's east to west. So west to east. So on the way back from New York to Paris, it takes 8 hours. When the Earth is actually coming toward you at 1,000 miles an hour. When you're in New York, the Earth is traveling faster than the aeroplane. Airplanes are only traveling at 500 miles an hour. The Earth at the equator is doing over 1,000 miles an hour. When they go back and forth, when they go east to west, the time from one destination to another is always the same. How can you please explain why that is? I've never been able to understand why that is. What am I missing?
Well, again, I am not the person to be asking these questions because I personally don't have the expertise or the training or the experience, and I don't even understand fully the question that you're trying to formulate, again, which you yourself don't even understand fully the question that you're trying to articulate. But even more simply, all of these points are erroneous. They're irrelevant. These points don't matter. It doesn't matter how that's totally erroneous. All you'd simply have to ask is, which direction does the plane turn flying from Los Angeles to Hawaii? Because if you want to bring up a flat Earth map on your screen, or I will screen share my screen and show you a flat Earth map, where if we were flying from Los Angeles to Hawaii, there is one direction that the plane would bank the entire flight, because Hawaii is basically a straight shot from Los Angeles, from LAX to Honolulu International Airport. You would be banking one direction the entire flight. And in reality, if you're on a flight to Hawaii from LAX, the plane banks left the entire time. You can look out your window, the plane is banking left. That means the left wing goes down and the plane banks left, because LA is a northernmost latitude than Hawaii. Hawaii is southern, and LA is above Hawaii. So you are banking left the entire time because the plane is curving to get to Hawaii. So on a flat Earth map, it would be the complete opposite. The plane would be banking to the right the entire. And this was one of Truth Theority's main points and main arguments that he showed in his videos. And nobody seems to want to simply just think about these things, or nobody's trying to rebut it or trying to think about it for themselves. If you were flying to Hawaii from Los Angeles on a flat Earth map, It circles because the flat Earth map circles around. So that means your flight would be circling around to get to Hawaii over there. Or it would be banking right the entire time to get to Hawaii. And that's not what happens if you're flying to Hawaii. You can look out the window, you can ask the captain, you can ask the pilot. You're banking left the entire time. And that's how you get to Hawaii from Los Angeles. You're going southwest. It's a southwest flight plan. You're going southwest. You're not going northeast. On a flat Earth map, you'd be flying northeast. You'd be banking right the whole flight. I don't know how long the flight is from LA to Hawaii. I think it's like 4 hours long, maybe longer, but I think it's about 4 hours. So you're banking right. You would be banking right the entire time on a flat map. And that's not what happens. That's not what we observe in reality, in the real world. You can ask, here, look on a flat map. Sorry, no.
Okay, I've got a flat map. I know what you're talking about. It's
common sense.
It's
anybody can observe it for themselves. Anyone who's going to Hawaii.
The reason why they're banging to the left is because they have to turn left, because that's the direction of Hawaii.
Exactly. How are you going to turn left if you're going right on a flat Earth map? How do you go right? How do you turn left to go right?
No commercial airline routes are straight trajectory. They are all curved. There's a reason for that. They are all curved.
Yeah, but the question is, which way is the plane turning? Is it turning right? Is it banking right, or is it banking left? It's as simple as that.
Well,
which way does a plane bank in order to get to Hawaii from Los Angeles?
I guess you just said left, right? So it has to be left.
Well, we could ask any commercial pilot and simply make it as simple as that, since neither you nor I have the credentials or the experience to answer this question, even though we could experience it for ourselves by simply being on a flight from Los Angeles to Hawaii and looking out the window asking the pilot. It's as simple as that.
Let me address some of your other questions, which were really deservable of addressing. Once in 2013, I went to Ecuador. So can you see my azimuthal equidistant map here?
Yeah, I can see it. It's hard to tell what I'm even looking at.
Okay, there's my cursor on Melbourne. I flew from Melbourne to Los Angeles. I was going to Ecuador. And on a globe, that would be straight across the Pacific. I was so pissed off that I had to go straight here to Los Angeles, then straight here to Panama, then straight here to Ecuador. It was a directly straight flight. And now that was 2013.
Wait, I'm sorry. I got lost. Where did you go from? You went from Melbourne to straight to where?
Can you see my cursor?
Yeah, I see it. It's very small though. Yeah, there you go. That makes it easier. Okay. Go ahead.
All right, here's Melbourne.
Yeah.
Right. I went to LAX.
Okay.
Straight. I went to Panama. Straight. I landed in Guayaquil in Ecuador. Yeah. Can you see how straight that is? Look at Ecuador, Panama, LAX, Melbourne.
The only issue with that is the absolute insane distance and length of time that the flight from Melbourne to LAX would be on this flat Earth map. That is a massive amount of open ocean travel, which, yeah, that's just, I don't know how long that would take on a flight on a flat Earth map versus...
Make what you want of that. I'm just telling you what I have experienced. Then I went to Europe 2 months later in that same year. Here I am in Melbourne, starting again. Here I am in Melbourne. They stopped me over in Shanghai, China. I thought, what the fuck? I don't want to go to China. I want to go straight to Europe like my father did in the 70s. No, I went Melbourne, Shanghai, and there's little old Italy, Rome. I landed in Rome.
Can
you see how straight that is?
Yeah, right. I just recently did that, roughly the same route to get from. I was just in Bali over the summer, and I went from Bali back home to Texas, where I am now. And I thought I was, because my flight from Texas to Bali, I went up over Alaska and went over the land bridge, over Russia, and then circled back down. We basically just followed the land bridge. If we're looking at yeah, so we went up over Alaska, followed the land bridge, went down, flight landed in Japan and Kyoto, and then it went from Japan to Jakarta, and then from Jakarta.
And that's dead straight on my map here. That is dead straight from where did you leave from in the States?
Yeah, the only problem is it wasn't a dead straight flight. We were banking left the entire flight. And
slightly, but it's pretty
slightly, but it was still a curved flight. We were still banking left the entire time. It was not a straight level flight. And so it's not too much different on a flat earth map versus a globe. It's still roughly the same general trajectory, except we were banking left the entire time, especially when we went south into Japan, from roughly from the north coast of Russia down China and into Japan, and then further south, straight south to Jakarta, and then to Bali. But so I thought we would go the same route back to the United States, and it was totally the opposite. We went from Jakarta to Qatar in the Middle East, North Africa, basically. And then we went from Qatar all the way over the Atlantic to get to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Texas. So it went the entire opposite route of the globe. I thought we were going to go back east, but instead we went all the way over, flew over all of Europe, flew over France, flew over the Atlantic Ocean, went over New York, and came all the way back down into Texas. It was the whole opposite direction. So that's the same route that you flew from Australia to China to Europe. It went the same direction. It went the opposite. So the reason why it does that is because they utilize the spin of the Earth. If we're going the other way against, it would be going with the spin of the Earth. It would actually take longer to get there than it would be to go against the spin of the Earth, which would help the speed and make the flight shorter. So that's
they're actually going with the spin of the ether. It's the ether that is rotating over the heavens, as all the ancient scriptures and all the ancient cosmologies say. They say, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, it tells you that the stars are like...
Yeah, well, I don't care what any text tells us. I care what we can objectively measure with science in the real world.
Oh, we can objectively measure plenty.
Yeah, because again, we're not interested in religious ideology. I don't care what the Sri...
Aren't you an astrotheologer and claim to be a syncretist and a reader of cosmologies? And
I'm a researcher, and I go with what is true and what can be proven.
You have missed so much, brother. You've missed it all. And look,
I've not missed it. I observe it, and then if it's true, I will show that, and if it's not true, I will show that also.
Well, let's show you some photographic evidence of a few hundred miles of flat Earth, and let's say 300 or 400 miles. Here we are. Here's a guy in Columbus, Missouri, flying to LAX, and he's going to pull out his camera in a minute.
And by the way, thanks to all that subscribe.
There is Jefferson City, just north of Jefferson City, Missouri. And here we go. There's the Mississippi River. Now you can see it going up like a ramp, right up to this point up here. You can still see Mississippi. This has to be at least 300 miles of Mississippi River, at least all the way past Illinois. So let's just have a look at when he zooms in.
Okay, so first off, let me explain some things here.
There's Lake Michigan, dude. That's Chicago. That should not be there. It should not be there. Neither should Lake Winnebago.
Okay, well, I'm not going to take someone's opinion for things. You're saying it should not be there. First of all, I barely can see what I'm looking at. Is a very poor quality thing.
All right, for all the earnest researchers, please look at this channel, J. Tolan Media 1. So let me see if I've got that on my camera. and then Mississippi River, Great Lakes, and Hudson Bay at 1,200 miles infrared camera. Now I'm going to put this on silent while Cullen speaks over it, and you can watch this yourselves, folks, on big screen, and you judge for yourself. I mean, that just looks flat. That really, really looks flat. Now you can't even see anything. And that's what your normal eye would never, ever see that. The horizon point would be hundreds of miles earlier. But infrared is able to penetrate the hydrogen molecules and all the obstructions in the atmosphere so that it can go deeper and further away. This guy's got hundreds of vids where he is showing at least 500 miles provably of flat Earth.
Okay,
it
well,
looks pretty flat, man. And I can show you a video right now of many pilots who say the Earth is as flat as a pancake. And I'm talking Missouri.
Yeah, they're not
And
professional
he's going
pilots.
all the way up to Hudson Bay.
They're not professional commercial
I don't know,
pilots.
guys. If you see a globe in there, congratulations. I see flat, and the river keeps going up. It doesn't dip. By now, that should have dipped. That should have started to have a little bit of tilt in it. It's not. You can see the water is still level to the eye of the beholder in the plane. The eye is
what does that even
water is
mean?
still going up. What's it doing going up so far away?
Going up far away?
So far away. There's like Mark Twain Lake.
These terms you're using don't even make sense. The water it should be going up and far away. What? These terms
I don't know. That looks pretty flat to me. Laugh at me all you like. You know, maybe one day we're going to have some really, really good infrared. See, people come to me and say, well, how come you can't see Polaris? Well, how come you can't see someone 10 meters away from you when you're in the water, under the water?
What?
Because it's full of water. Well, the atmosphere is full of water as well. There's a lot of hydrogen in the water, and there's a lot of other molecules. There's a lot of other obstructions. Air is not transparent. So you're not going to be able to see Polaris from every part of the world. This is how much of the Earth that he has been photographing, guys. And a lot of people say, oh yeah, this is debunked. I don't see how this can be debunked. You just saw the pictures.
Well,
you cannot debunk this.
First, you would have to understand what you're seeing and what you're talking about in order to
and look at that, and there's still land up here. This is all water. These are not clouds. These are land masses.
Those are clouds.
Way.
Those are cirrus clouds.
The Missouri River, not the Mississippi, the Missouri. Way beyond the Missouri.
Those are stratus cirrus clouds.
There's a bit of Missouri up here, way up in Kentucky or
in the sky.
Mississippi.
That's Missouri up in the sky?
And he is way down in, well, look at that. There's 1,700 miles away, guys. Lake Superior, Hudson Bay, Canada. He's looking at Canada from the state of Missouri, man.
We don't know what he's looking at.
If anything, we're in a concave Earth, but it can never be convex.
This is all objectively easily disproven. And plus these points are
I can't
erroneous.
hear you. Hang on a minute. I've muted you. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how I did that. So I've missed everything you said, which is very, very disappointed. Can you talk now?
Well, you just muted me.
What's going on? All right. No, someone's fucking with me here. Hang on a minute. Ask to unmute. I've asked to unmute. You need to unmute.
I am unmuted. I am unmuted on the recording.
So I missed all of that.
Well,
brilliant. Now, how do you make this big again? All right, hang on a minute. All right, I have not muted you. Hello?
Yeah, I'm not muted. It's probably...
Fucking hell.
Yeah, this is why it helps to have someone who is technologically...
What's going on? I've got ask to unmute.
You don't have to. I'm unmuted right now.
Nah, you must be muted.
I'm not muted. I'm unmuted.
Oh.
It's the
Is
recording is.
someone? Oh hell! Someone, please, can you tell me turn your laptop volume up? Oh fucking hell! Idiot that I am. All right, hang on. That was my problem. All right, go again. Make all your points.
Okay, well, your audio is probably not playing because you did something with the screen share when you were showing the video.
Yeah, I turned my volume down. That's what I did.
Okay, well, turn your volume back up.
I can hear you clearly now. Please make all your points.
Okay, well, I was making my points as I observed them. First of all, that video doesn't prove anything. I mean, first of all, we don't even know that what we were looking at is what he says it was. I mean, you're basically deferring to his opinion. You're just trusting that all the arrows were pointing to exactly what he says they were. I'm not saying that they're not, but the point is, like, we don't really know for sure. Like, how do I know that was Lake Superior or whatever the hell he was labeling it as? I mean,
all right, well, what about this
the,
picture? What about this picture now? Can you see at least? Tell me, please, that you can't. Tell me that you can't see at least 400 miles of Earth in front of you. Tell me that you can't.
well, you can probably. I don't know. I'm not the math and all of that is not my. I am terrible at math. I will admit that. I don't know the math and the spherical trigonometry or any of that. Nor do you. I mean, I'm sure we can both agree on that. We're both probably pretty bad at math. But so that's irrelevant. But if you're in a plane, it depends how high up you are. That depends how far in the horizon into the distance you can see. So I mean, that's not much of anything. I mean, any commercial pilot can verify, first of all, that footage that he's seeing or how far he's seeing, or that's not my. I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer those questions because I don't know exactly what I'm looking at, nor do I have the knowledge base to understand that stuff, or to see how it's even relevant for showing that the Earth is flat. Because there's far more important points that we can show and objectively talk about and that we can prove and measure, such as Eötvös effect, Coriolis effect. I mean, all of these other things. We should do the very simple stuff. So you've shown me a couple of your things. Now I want to show you some of the most important points that I have for easily why the Earth is objectively not flat. And that is simply, so we can, is a simple sunset. A sunset proves that the sun does, okay, so you want to let me do a screen share here for just a minute, or will it screw up your
Okay.
recording? So I watched your evidence, and I'll sit and I'll see what I think about it if I have anything to think about it. But then I want to also show some of my evidence and hear the flat Earth explanations for why that is, because I know the flat Earth explanations. You all are claiming that the sun circles above the flat Earth and that it's a Tesla coil and that it miraculously, goes up higher, which accounts for the solar analemmas, which it doesn't actually. But my point is that that's objectively not what the sun does in reality. So we can easily disprove this by, do you know what an equatorial mount is on a telescope? You should know that by now because it's a main point that totally debunks the flat Earth that has been discussed numerous times that flat earthers cannot even explain because they don't know what it is. Do you know what a solar filter is, which blocks out most of the light that overexposes a footage of the sun if you're photographing? So this is what flat earthers don't understand. Let me explain this to you guys. I've got it already recorded in the full 4.5-hour video. So I mean, but I won't show that it gets a little bit long. So I'll just show a brief sample of it. If you want to let me do a screen share real quick.
You've got permission to screen share.
Okay. Do I have to click the button? Okay. QuickTime Player, share. Oops, that's not it. There we go. All right. So let me see.
You're not speaking. I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear the audio?
Yeah, now I can.
Well, only if I talk, or you can't hear the video audio?
I can't hear the video audio.
Shit, I don't know why. It should be. Maybe it's because maybe if I might be playing through my microphone.
And by the way, that's a good depiction of at how the sun is local and how it lights.
Does that work?
No volume.
Okay, well now I can't hear you. Shit.
There's no volume.
Okay, so if I unplug my mic, you still can't hear the video?
No, I can't hear the video.
All right, shit. Let me see. I've never really done a screen share. Let me see how I can do the audio through. It should be doing the audio through that. Fuck. This is the stuff we should already have figured out so that it doesn't ruin our stream. I'm honestly not very technologically savvy either, so I can't really.
It's all right. That's not an issue. That's not an issue.
Okay, but so anyways, I mean, what I'm showing.
Nothing to do with your presentation. I'm sure that will happen.
If I could figure out how to get the screen share to do the audio through that. Share sound. There we go. Got to click that check button at the bottom on the screen share, says share sound. So, okay, optimize for video. Let's see if that works. Share your computer audio. Please install the Zoom audio device. Restart your audio sharing application. What?
They don't have any.
Can you hear that?
Yep.
Okay, cool. That worked. All right, so you just got to check there's a little box at the bottom when you share screen that shares audio.
Commercial knowledge of, but an equatorial mount uses a singular axis to track any celestial object. You can use it, you can set it to track the moon, to track any certain star, you can use it to track the sun. But this is the main thing that flat earthers need to understand about anytime you're photographing or filming the sun, you have to use a solar filter in order to see the actual size of the sun. Because otherwise, the exposure of the sunlight is going to obscure your footage, and it's going to make the sun either appear much larger or much smaller than it actually is.
And so that's the main point that flat earth photographers or anyone viewing any, sun changes, the sun gets larger or smaller, vanishes into the horizon. If you're viewing any flat earth videos or any recordings or taking photographs or telescopic footage of the sun, this is the main point. You have to use a solar filter. The reason why is because it's the exposure of the sunlight into the lens that will make it appear that the sun is getting smaller as it vanishes into the horizon. And the reason why it does that is because if there's heavy cloud cover, if there's a lot of cloud cover obscuring the sun, it's going to make it appear that the sun is shrinking off into the distance as it gets smaller, so this is where we can't cherry pick evidence. Like if you do a simple basic Google search, you go and Google search, sunset, a sunset time lapse, sunset.
Well, let's have a look at one, shall we?
Time lapse GIF.
I've got one right here. Let me share my screen, please.
Okay, well, I've got them right here also. Here's one right, and I show them in the video also. Here's one right there.
All right. Well, I think I'm sharing now. So just let's enjoy this.
All right. Here's an eye-opener video. This is a 5-day time lapse up in the Arctic. Okay. You see the sun is going to go down. It's getting
hold on. I'm not seeing your screen.
And here it's not going down. It's coming back.
Let's stop this.
I don't know if it's just on my thing. But yeah, I'm not seeing your screen. I can hear it, but I can't see what he's showing.
Okay.
I don't know if it's something I did or.
What about
around? Notice that the camera is moving 360.
Can you see?
All right. Here's an eye-opener video.
Let me see. Back to meeting.
All right. Here's an eye-opener.
Can you see that?
No, I'm just seeing, I'm not show active, show thumbnail video, show active speaker video. I know that just shows you, it shows both of us. I'm not seeing your screen. Back to meeting.
All right.
Stop share. Sharing is paused. Bring your shared. I think it's still sharing my screen.
Okay. All right. Can you stop sharing?
Okay. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Now I can see.
Okay. All right. So
okay. Yeah. Now I can see it.
let's have a look at this.
Okay. 5-day time lapse in
This
the
is
Arctic.
a 5-day time lapse
Hang on a minute.
up in the
Okay.
Arctic.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
see
point is, we could do that in the Antarctic as well.
It hasn't been done in the Antarctica. It hasn't.
But it could. Well, actually, I think that's false, because I think in the video that I have, I think Noah actually included a time lapse footage of the sun the entire, because in the Antarctic it's a 24-hour daylight. The sun never sets in Antarctica, and I'm pretty sure there's footage of that from the Antarctic as well. But so anyways, go ahead with the video and I'll see what I have to say about it.
Okay, well, first of all, it's not 24-hour daylight, it's 24-hour twilight from the people who have been there. All the people who come back say they never see the sun ever, ever, ever when they're in the Antarctica. They've never, ever seen the sun. It's always twilight. And yet this is in the Northern Hemisphere. Now, I'm trying to make this big. How do I freaking do that?
You should just... there should be a button at the, there you go. There should be a button at the, or just double click it.
All right, here we go.
All right, here's an eye-opener video. This is a 5-day time lapse up in the Arctic. Okay, you see the sun is going to go down. It's getting smaller.
No, it's actually, no, it's not changing size whatsoever.
Hang around. Notice that the camera is moving 360 degrees. 1 day has passed. Okay, it's going to the second day. You can see the sun is moving down again and getting smaller, but coming back around again. Notice that the camera rotating 360 degrees. Second day. We're on to our third day. So if you look at this, this proves that it's a flat Earth. The sun's
No, it doesn't.
smaller again, coming back around. This is near the Arctic. Now, if the globe theory held true, this is near where the access point of the globe would be. So the sun you shouldn't have to rotate the camera at all, really. You can see the sun getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's a local sun, about 3,000 miles away. Once again, the Arctic is near the access point on the globe. Therefore, you shouldn't have to spin the camera 360 degrees per day. But here, this proves it. It does. Not only take note of the fact that the size of the sun gets bigger as it's coming towards noon, and then look, it's going to get smaller. Guys, wake up and share. All right, here's an
Okay. Okay, so let me explain that. Let me explain what he, yeah. Let me.
Okay.
All right.
So first of all, the sun did not change size. Again, that footage is not using a solar filter, and this is what the main point is so important, because the light is overexposing the footage, which means that there's a halo around the sun, the corona, and that's obscuring the actual objective silhouette of the size of the sun. So that footage is not using a solar filter, and that's not his footage. I'm sure the person that took the footage will fully understand this. They're not using a solar filter. If you use the solar filter, you'll see that sun is not actually changing size. It appears to be changing size because the light is simply obscuring the actual size of the sun. And second of all, that footage alone right there proves that the Earth is not flat. That's not what the sun would do if it was circling over a flat Earth. So again, that camera was swiveling on a singular axis the entire time. It was using probably an equatorial mount. An equatorial mount tracks the position of any singular object in the sky. You can track any single star, you can track the moon, you can track the sun, and the way it tracks is it sets the coordinates to a single axis, and it aligns itself with the axis of the Earth, the tilt of the Earth. And so what that does is you can track the sun all day long, and if you're not in the Arctic, what that does is you observe the sun as it comes up from beneath the horizon. It tracks directly overhead in a single line over the sky, and then it goes down and it sets beneath the horizon, and then the telescope will continue on a single axis. That means it goes from east to west, and it still tracks the sun as it goes down underneath the Earth. And then if you do it for 48 hours and 24 hours, it'll come up the other side and it'll do it all over again. And it will track the position of the sun using a single rotational axis. And the way it does that is it's well known in photography and astronomy. Using a telescope, you have to use an equatorial mount. But so in that video footage, the sun the camera was turning the entire time. It would not have to turn if the Earth was flat. Now, I'm not really thinking about what it would be like from the, okay, well, from the pole. See, this is where it gets all convoluted, why I record videos to explain things. But so, yeah, that's not what it would be doing on a flat Earth. It wouldn't be going off into the distance and then coming back and then going off. On a flat Earth, it would circle overhead, and then it would circle far out and around, and then it would go off again directly straight in front of you, way off in the distance, and it would vanish, get smaller and smaller, vanish off into the distance. But the point about that is you could use a telescope and you could simply zoom into the sun, and it would be daylight 24 hours a day. The light from the sun would not just vanish on one half of the Earth. That's not how light works. True Theory explained this fully in his videos. Numerous flat Earth debunking videos explain this. On a flat Earth, what is there, like a wall that prevents the sunlight from hitting the other half of the Earth where it's night, and where, so it's day on one half of the Earth, but the light just somehow stops?
Yes,
so
it's called the delineator, and I've seen it with my own eyes in 2002. In 2002, I was flying from Perth, Australia, easterly to Melbourne, back to Melbourne, and it was 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Everything 180 degrees in front of us was pitch black, dark, and everything 180 degrees behind us was light time. We were in the middle of the delineator, and everyone was gasping in the aeroplane. They couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Half the day was black and half the day was bright as can be. And not only that, there was a rainbow for 180 degrees on the bottom of the lit up side behind us. On the lit up side, there was a perfect rainbow flat on the flat Earth. If the Earth were a globe, you couldn't have a 180 degree rainbow sitting there on the Earth. That was a remarkable day. I witnessed that with my own eyes. I saw the delineator, yes. And there are pictures, you can see pictures of the delineator in many, many videos where people marvel that one half of the sky is dark and night and the other half is bright.
Yeah, that happens. That's because of the curvature of the Earth, where you can see the shadow. That's what happens when the sun sets. There is a line where the sunlight no longer reaches, and that's where the shadow of the night creeps as the Earth rotates and the night creeps over, is because the sunlight is being blocked and obscured by the curvature of the Earth. The sun is is going to the other, or appears to be going. The Earth is rotating, so the sun is now on the other side of the Earth, and therefore the light is not reaching that part. So it's because of the shadow. That's the shadow. That's the shadow of the curvature of the Earth that you're seeing. That's the curve.
It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and the sun was high up in the sky.
Okay, well,
The sun was not even set, hadn't even set. It was 4 o'clock.
Okay, well, I don't know what, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't seen what you're talking about, so I can't comment on it.
Well,
but,
the listeners are just going to have to know that I'm saying the truth. Like I said, the truth, when I was saying to people for 6 years, I did not do a deal with the government. I would never do that. And here I am, in a month before I went to jail, July 22nd, 2015, on the Higher Side Chats. And this is me speaking here.
Yeah, I've seen it. I saw your multiple videos on it. So I will retract that statement that, okay, I don't think it's possible that you did not take a deal, but everyone's still questioning why you've been so absolutely, just vile towards simple, good-natured people like Ruth Ramos or like Graham Hancock or
all of you people, all of you, you including, you will have to admit, I gave you the password to my Facebook, and you got so many followers from me. You were posting freaking nearly every second day. Every second post was yours. Then all of a sudden you started posting Christopher Lord's videos and calling me a shill, and then you started that lie, or at least you jumped on that lie. So yes, you did attack my person. You did attack my public reputation. You did hurt my public reputation. You can't deny that. So
Well, I have never personally called you names. I've never character assassinated you or defamed you or anything that you have done to me. I've simply addressed the points that the Earth is not flat. Whatever Chris did in his first videos, Chris is extremely like, I know Chris personally. I know you've spoken to him personally as well. He's one of the sweetest, nicest guys anybody will ever meet in their entire lives. He's genuine. He's authentic. But if people are uppity with him, he will do that right back. But he's always genuine at first. Like, he never draws first blood unless somebody comes out and attacks him. So at first he was probably simply just addressing the reasons why the Earth is not flat. And then all the ad hominems start getting thrown around from the flat Earth side because it's a religious ideology and a personal ideology for them. And then they attacking, and not only that, a lot of them are just not nice, not kind human beings. They get very nasty and very vicious, and it starts off that a lot of it is legitimate government disinfo troll sock puppet accounts for that, for things like QAnon, for things like all of these psyops that come along the way. And there's tons of sock puppet accounts that divide and conquer us, so they're the ones putting out ad hominem attacks and all that stuff. But Chris always sticks with the information first.
everything you just said is wrong. He attacked me out of nowhere. And
no,
then,
he would do that.
I did not attack him. I didn't even know he existed virtually.
That's not true, Santos. You invited Chris onto your podcast a long time ago. You knew who he was. You know who he is. You enjoyed his work. We all did. His work is awesome.
I knew his channel,
loved it.
did not know him. Cullen, you said that he's nice until he's attacked. I never attacked him. He came out of nowhere with all these malicious videos, and then
that's after you had already been on Facebook, and I sent him the post that you were making about him and us on Facebook, and he was simply doing videos about why the Earth is not flat, not personal videos, until you started attacking him about his character and panty boys and pizza and naked boys and being gay and all of this stuff that you obsess over. And then Chris started addressing you directly after that. But the only thing is we never publicly defame you. We'll say things like, oh, this is dumb, or oh, this is stupid, or oh, you might be stupid, or oh, this and that. But we have never and will never say things like you have done a crime that we can't prove. And again, that's where I would say, it was speculation that none of us knew what happened to you in jail. What, did you get bribed, or what happened? Because that's kind of stuff is not out of the ordinary, and it's not an irrational thing to consider, because that happens. People take deals from the government in order to push disinformation, campaigns, and to divide and conquer the truth movement. It has happened countless times. It's been on the cover of Time magazine, called The Useful Idiot, where they pay off, people to do all sorts of, it's happened before. So it's not out of reasoning to make those sort of speculative assumptions, or to simply ask the question. And I'm not the one who started that. Everyone else was also thinking the same thing. They were like, what happened in there? Did he, did they like put something in the food? And the food itself that they give you is shit. So that alone, and just the trauma and the stress of going to jail alone, is traumatic. I understand it creates a lot of trauma and can be very, traumatic. So we all understand that, and we all have sympathy for you for that. We all understand that. We all feel bad that happened to you, and we all supported you before that. We all supported you.
And then you stabbed me in the back.
No, that's not what happened. I've got all the screenshots of the timeline of all of that. Do you have the screenshots and the evidence where I came out first and started attacking you with verbal insults and all of that? No, you don't, because I didn't do that. That's not what happened. What happened is we all simply started saying that the Earth's not flat. What has happened to you? Why are you so adamant about this flat Earth thing? What the hell has happened? This was at the very beginning of the flat Earth movement. Most people weren't even aware of it yet at that time. We didn't know that the YouTube was freaking blowing up with flat Earth, videos and all that stuff at the time. Most of all of us were way off into other stuff like the sovereignty and all of that stuff, which sort of went by the wayside. And now it had been replaced entirely by a adamant religio-zealous fundamentalis of flat earth. It was this like born again, like flat earth thing. And we were all like, where the hell did this come from? Why is this happening? What changed between before you went in? And so, yes, I see now that you had talked about it on, Greg Carlwood thing, but it wasn't, that wasn't the only thing you were talking about. And somehow when you got out, that was the only thing that was being talked about. So we all had, and most of all of us are still going, what the hell changed in jail? And so we're wondering why and most importantly, we're wondering why is it so heinous and so vicious and so vile? Like it's the worst language I've ever heard come out of anybody's mouth. And yes, I know that you've been like that for a long time. It was probably even worse when you were a 30-year Jehovah's Witness. So it was probably even worse. And I know Australia is, you have very vulgar speech. Like it's the most, vulgar, speech that's out there, but it wasn't all the time. Like it was just randomly, occasionally here and there that it would come out. It wasn't like nonstop, consistently against everybody. Good people, Graham Hancock, Ruth Ramos, like the sweetest, just kind, gentle people, just going about their lives. And, you would attack them for not being a flat earth. It's like, what did Graham Hancock ever do to you? He never attacked you. He doesn't even know who you are. And you came out and attacked him also. And Max Egan and everyone else. And, on and on and on. Danny Wilton's never, said anything about you. He's never said anything against you. And you attack him also. So it's not the fact that people came out and attacked you first. That's not what it is. It's you get pissed off about people saying that the earth's not flat, and you're so ideologically attached to it that you take it as a personal attack when it's not. It's simply addressing the information, not an attack on someone's character. It's the information, it's not you. But flat earthers are so enveloped in their ideology that they take it that if the earth was proven to not be flat, they would take it as a personal attack. They're like, I am flat earth. Flat earth is me. It's a sense of ideology. It's a religious dogma. It's a religion, and it is propped up mostly by religious dogma. The Vedas, the biblical Old Hebrew, Old Testament, this is all religious ideology. It's not of the objective science that we observe in nature. I want the facts. I don't want the religious texts. I don't care what anyone says. I care what we can.
It's pretty objective when you look at this photo here. How is it possible to see Mauritius from Reunion, 140 miles away? This is a picture of an island that's 120 miles long. There should be curvature there. That's a straight line, that horizon. How is it possible to see Mauritius from Reunion? Can we have your answer, please?
I don't know. I don't even know what the hell Mauritius is or Reunion. I am totally I have no.
Two islands.
I can't answer this question because I'm not familiar with it. It's not my.
Okay, so they're just off the coast of Madagascar. They're two French-speaking islands, and they are 150 or 140 miles away from each other, and they can see each other all the time. There should be 6,000 to 7,000 miles of drop, and yet you can see that island standing up to your eye level.
Okay, well, in my friend Noah's full 4.5-hour flat earth debunking every single one of these points, we explain fully the actual math for spherical trigonometry that can explain everything that we observe in nature and can clearly show the curvature as well. We can show, so let me see.
There's no curvature here. There's none.
I guarantee you it's just like every other point. You're simply just misunderstanding what it is and misrepresenting what it is that we're actually seeing there.
You can't misrepresent what the camera gets. How can the sun? Have a look at this. There's your sun.
Yeah, but you can misinterpret and misrepresent what the camera is picking up there. Because I know for a fact that you don't actually fully understand what it is that you're observing there. You're just trusting what somebody else has told you that it is.
Are you watching this sun in the clouds?
No, not right now. I'm trying to look up the timestamp for where we actually address these points specifically in the
Well,
video.
I hope my audience can see it because there is the sun sitting just on
Oh,
top of the clouds.
okay. So you're saying that's the sun sitting on top of the clouds. Yeah, see, that's another effect that's not filmed with a solar filter. That's an effect that is caused. It's an optical illusion that is caused by any time an object, the brightness of the sun is so bright that it looks like objects are behind the sun or it's sitting on top of it. That's not the case. It is going down beneath the horizon, and that's the reflection of the sunlight off of the precipitation in the clouds.
But
It's
the
just
But the horizon is way, way behind it. You can see clearly the horizon's 1,000 miles.
If they had filmed that with a solar filter, it would look entirely different. You would not see any clouds in that footage. You would see only the outline of the sun.
You can see the horizon.
Yeah, because
way behind it. Way behind.
okay. So let us return back to. I'll show you with your own eyes. Let me do a screen share of the solar filter so I can finish making this point about why it looks like the sun is beneath the clouds or going underneath the clouds and all that stuff. It's because it's not filmed with a solar filter. It's filmed with an iPhone camera from inside so let me screen share real quick. Share sound, share screen. So let me finish making this one point. I'll try not to take too much time on it because there's numerous other points that we can
Because the light flare is obscuring the actual.
What happened?
All of that that lens flare, all of that overexposure, and it reveals just the actual silhouette.
So this is the footage of if you're using a solar filter on a telescope. This is viewing the sun through a telescope with a solar filter. That's called this telescope is a Coronado. This is Wolfie's footage on his channel, Wolfie 60.
The actual size of the sun itself.
So here is the footage from the telescope, and because it is a hydrogen alpha solar scope, it allows us to see surface detail and also the prominences. I had the camera taking one frame every 2 seconds, and I compiled the time lapse at 30 frames per second. So 1 minute of footage here represents 1 hour of real time. As I fast forward through the video, you can see very clearly the rotation of the sun. Looking at this feature here and a few spots up in this part of the sun, as I move back and forth, you can see the spherical nature of the sun and the fact that it is rotating.
Yep, the sun rotates.
Yeah, I know.
34
That's
degrees
not the main point that I wanted to
matches
show.
what we are seeing, and that allows us to see the angle of the Earth at south 34 degrees latitude in Sydney as it would appear from the North Pole. When the sun sets, we can see the orientation of the Earth.
So this is time-lapse we're seeing right here in the screen. This is time-lapse footage of the sun filmed through a telescope using a Coronado solar filter and a solar telescope. It's meant to film and photograph the sun. And this right here, this is the moment where the sun goes beneath the horizon. It's using an equatorial mount. So this would be north. This is the north. This is the top of the sun up here. This is the horizon, this angle right here, because the telescope is angled at the same axis as the Earth's rotation. So this is the sun actually setting beneath the horizon right there. So we can see clearly using a solar filter that the sun does not vanish off in the distance and it gets smaller and smaller, nor does it stay above the horizon 24 hours a day. It clearly, observably, objectively, you can look up any sunset time-lapse GIF on the internet. Don't cherry pick, look up the ones that disagree with that will clearly show that the sun stays the same size all day long as it sets beneath the horizon. And then you can prove that it went beyond the horizon because you can take a drone, you can raise it up, which he also did this in the same video. He filmed it from a drone and watch the sun as it sets beneath the horizon. And then you can raise the altitude of the drone to way up high and voila, it reveals the sun again. And then you can watch it as it sets beneath the horizon even further, because the higher you are up, the more you can see over the horizon. So you can watch the sunset multiple times. And that's how we know that it's not staying above, circling the flat earth, that it's not disappearing off in the horizon, that it's not above the horizon 24 hours a day. It sets beneath the horizon of the earth. Now you could say that, oh, well, the earth is flat and the sun somehow goes beneath the flat earth and then somehow comes back up above the flat earth. But you could say that, you could maybe try to argue that, but then we could debunk that a million different ways till Sunday. But what it does not do is it does not circle above the flat earth. So we can
hang on a minute. We just saw it circling. If the sun wasn't circling in that little video that we just saw of the time lapse 5 times, if you get a globe in a dark room and you get a light source over there, and you tilt the globe at 23.5 degrees. First of all, here's a question for you. That guy was filming at the Arctic Circle. How many degrees latitude do you think he was at?
I have no idea. We have no idea. We would have to ask the guy who filmed the footage. You know,
well,
let's not make assumptions and draw false conclusions based on things we don't know. Let's use things we do know.
Well, for a start, if the Earth is tilted at 23.5 degrees, you can do this experiment in your own room. You have a light source over there, and you turn that globe around. It will be, because it's only at a tilt of 23.5 degrees, when the Earth is tilted that way against the source of light, it will be pitch black. But you didn't see any of that. You saw continuous light, continuous light. If the Earth is tilted at 23.5 degrees, there would be black, darkness, day, darkness. You can do this in your own room. You'd have to tilt the Earth so much, much, much more for there to be a 24-hour sun, unless that guy was right at the North Pole, unless he was within 23.5 degrees of the North Pole, which is highly unlikely because no one goes that far. No one, not even air flights. They don't go anywhere near the North Pole because it's a magnetic mountain. It's a vortex. It's in another reality. It's where the aurora borealis happens, and they don't go anywhere near that. That's why you never see anyone.
That's not true.
When I was a little boy, there were hundreds of explorers that went to the North Pole and stuck their flag in there. Why don't we just get a drone now? Why don't we tomorrow get some rich guy who's got $100,000, got a big drone, get him to fly his drone over the North Pole where all those flags are, and let's see that the North Pole rotate. Let's see the globes do that, because they always want us to show the edge. Why don't you show us the edge? Why don't you show us the edge? Why don't we go to the South Pole and the North Pole and watch the globe turn? Because there's none of that. It's never happened in history.
Well, watch this. Is the screen still sharing? Watch this real quick. It's not it's a short clip.
Between Friday afternoon and Sunday evening. This will be a weekend to remember.
In 1970, I forget what year, 1970 something, Flight 50 was the first flight to circumnavigate the globe from over the North Pole, over the South Pole, and all the way back. It, instead of circumnavigating the globe horizontally across the equator, it went above the North Pole and over the South Pole as well. And
and by the way, and it's the only time in history that it's ever happened?
No, that happens numerous times. There are still I think there's still commercial flights to this day. There's still commercial flights that go directly over the North Pole all the time. It's not as common going over the South Pole because it's extremely treacherous. Most flights, they usually don't want to go over huge bodies of water if they can avoid it. So they go other ways, but there are still flights that go over the South Pole. But there's flights.
Do you know what Encyclopedia Britannica in 1958 said? They said they went to Antarctica and they went all the way around, and they found that the dome was 13,000 meters high at Antarctica. They call it the firmament, the dome, the vault. They said it is 13,000 miles high and they can't penetrate that dome.
What?
That's Encyclopedia Britannica. They must be so stupid. That. Not a very scientific book, is it?
Well, you would have to show me. But first, I want to show you this clip right here.
The first leg of the flight will take them on a north-northeast course over Oregon,
If I could play this on like 2x speed, I would, but I have to just play normal speed.
Washington, and Western Canada, across the Arctic Circle, and over the North Pole. Then they'll head south, fly east of Greenland and Iceland, over the coast of Norway, and on to England. From London, Flight 50 heads almost due south,
here we go.
over France and the Mediterranean, across Algeria and the Sahara Desert, and then down the entire length of the African continent to the southern tip, and Cape Town, South Africa. The flight will take 11 hours and 6 minutes, one of 7 speed records set by Flight 50. Interesting leg of the trip, 7,550 miles across the South Atlantic and the frozen expanses of Antarctica, over the South Pole, then across the South Pacific to Auckland, New Zealand. It's the first time any plane has flown this route. Another first. The route for the final leg will be all over water. It will pass west of Tahiti, then cross the vast Central Pacific, fly east of the Hawaiian Islands, and finally land at San Francisco, completing its circle of the globe.
And he covers.
So there's the first commercial flight that took a full plane full of full passengers over the North Pole.
Where's the North Pole? What I'm saying is, why don't we get Elon Musk, because his car can go anywhere, why don't we get it just to land on the North Pole, have 4 cameras there, 2 flat earthers and 2 globies, so that we can have fairness. We bring 4 people that are of different schools. We all go there with a helicopter to the North Pole, and we watch the North Pole and the South Pole do a turn in 24 hours. That would fix all of your problems.
Well, yeah,
straight away. But you can never, ever do it. Ever.
My friend Dream Rockwell, I talked to her about this because she dated Elon Musk there for a brief little period, and she's still on a text message basis with him. In fact, she accidentally drunk texted him while I was visiting her. So I tried to convince her. I was like, see if first of all, I was like, send him some of my information about my Inoculum of Truth COVID documentary, see what he has to say about any of that stuff. And then I was like, okay, well, if the Earth's flat, because she's a hardcore flat earther too, and we couldn't even talk about this because, like, if I tried to talk about this like I'm talking about it with you, like, she would get so pissed at me. She would say, your tone of voice is violent. I'm like, I'm just trying to explain facts. It's not, facts aren't violent. But so anyways.
Exactly. And I agree with her. It's all the globies who are vile and disgusting. I get death threats every day. I had a guy tell me when I was in Australia that he was going to come and visit me and rape me with my guitar because of flat earth. I had a guy in Oregon come to murder me because of flat earth. He was jealous
that's
of
great.
me. And he got himself murdered with his own baseball bat and knife within 15 minutes.
Okay, well, let's try and keep the conversation, on just information, because I don't want it to get banned.
The globies are the killers. They are the murderers.
I don't want it to get banned from YouTube or Facebook. So don't use speech that we don't need to be talking about. So we don't need to be talking about any of that stuff. And honestly, so I don't know. Since you're smoking, I guess we can't put this on YouTube anyways now. But
why? I'm only smoking
because you're not allowed to smoke or drink on YouTube. It's a bad example for children, and you're not allowed to do that on. It's basic YouTube rules. Everybody knows this. It'll get the video banned or demonetized, or probably even maybe even stricken down for community guidelines violations. This is just basic stuff we can't do, unfortunately. But yeah, so anyways, back to the information. Yeah, so I mean, there's commercial flight. I mean, so we wouldn't need to do that. We could just simply have what they're already doing, which is there's Elon Musk and what's his face, the Virgin Mobile guy. They're already doing commercial space flights where people can pay money for a ticket to fly a rocket into space, view the Earth from space. So now so if flat earthers want to, they can pool all their money together. They can buy themselves a ticket on a rocket to view the Earth from space. So we're now in the era where we no longer have to be like, oh, we can't ever see the Earth from space. There's no photos of the Earth from space. That's bullshit. It's always been bullshit. It's a myth. It's totally easily debunked. Anybody now, if you've got enough money, can fly into space and view the Earth for yourself. But then we could get into all the excuses like, oh, well, the windows on the rocket, they're just curved windows. and oh, it's all a conspiracy. They're trying to curve the windows to make it look like the horizon, like the earth is curved when it's actually flat. So sure, we can make all those excuses all we want, but we have infinite other ways to prove that the earth is not flat, such again, the objective footage of the sun. So let's be scientific about it. Let's not cherry pick one single example of the footage from the North Pole. Let's look at all the footage that's out there of the sun setting beneath the horizon, where you can't make these, misconceptions and misrepresentations. If it's true, it will always be proved. It can easily be proven from every angle. The truth fears no investigation. If something is true in nature, it can always be repeatable from anywhere on the globe, and it will explain itself from all the different aspects. So let's not cherry pick one example from the North Pole. Let's look at any example of the sunset footage of sun setting beneath the horizon. So
objectively false. That's objectively not the case. Because if you take it, so this is the thing, the sun does not circle around above our heads and then go off out into the distance. It doesn't do that, because you can take an equatorial mount on a telescope. What that is, he explains it fully in his videos, much better than I can explain it here without all the tools to actually show you with your own eyes. But an equatorial mount uses a singular axis to track any celestial object. You can use it, you can set it to track the moon.
So this is a real model of what the sun actually does in nature from our observation point on the earth. And it shows a flat plane here, but that's just a representation of our position on the earth. And this is what what we actually observe in reality. The sun goes at an angle and an arc above our heads, directly above our heads at high noon, where there's no shadow. And then it goes down and it goes beneath the horizon, and it goes beneath the horizon and it comes back up. That's what we objectively observe in nature. It doesn't circle around us all day long, never setting below the horizon, because again, we could use a telescope from one side of the flat earth and view the sun above the horizon from on the other side of the flat earth. And we can't use the excuse that, oh, well, the telescope is obscured by the hydrogen atoms in the atmosphere. It doesn't do that. A telescope is powerful enough to view all the way to the other side of the flat earth if the earth was flat. It's a lame excuse. But so anyways, let's continue to watch the sun set.
To track any certain star, you can use it to track
There's
the
a
sun.
single footage of the sun setting beneath the horizon that's clearly not getting smaller. It's observably not vanishing off above.
You can bring that sun straight back up with a zoom.
Yes. No. You cannot zoom back in and have that sun get larger again. That would not happen.
You absolutely can.
You absolutely
I have a friend
cannot.
in Australia who's done it. I have a friend in Australia who's
Did
done
he use a solar? Did he use a solar filter?
Yes, he did. He used everything. He's a professional. He's a
Sure he is. I'm sure he's
yeah,
a professional.
Yeah, he's a professional.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
You say I'm a liar now.
I'm saying that all flat earthers claim to be professionals at things that they are not.
Has been a professional photographer, interviewer. He's been a
So we can ask him. We can ask him if that footage. We can ask him if that footage was filmed with a solar filter, and we can know if it was filmed with a solar filter. It's easy to see if it used the solar filter. And I guarantee you, if the sun got larger again, what we can do with this footage here that's showing on screen is we could use it. If we elevated our altitude, the sun would begin to appear above the horizon again. But if we went lower in altitude, it would go further beneath the horizon. So we could watch it set numerous times if we raised our elevation, such as climbing up on top of a mountain and watching the sun, or just if we were using a drone filming this and raise the altitude of the drone way up thousands of feet higher, we would see the sun start to come back up from beneath the horizon. And then it would continue to set beneath the horizon once again, because that's what it does. You could not zoom in on the sun here and get larger and come back above the horizon. It would not do that.
I've seen it done many times. Absolutely, can be.
That sun
is not setting. That sun is curving. It is curving around. It appears to be going straight because that's an optical illusion. You must remember the sun is transcendental. It's not material. You can't triangulate the sun.
You're saying this is the sun curving right there, going beneath the horizon.
Absolutely, it's curving over the flat Earth, and
that's curving over the flat Earth. Then how is it not vanishing off and getting smaller? How is it not getting smaller?
Atmospheric refraction, atmospheric lensing, atmospheric aberration.
Okay. Well, my friend Noah, we fully explain all of the atmospheric lensing as well further on, way later in this film. It's 4.5 hours long, addressing each and every point, fully explaining it. We're not making fun of anybody. I mean, maybe we're poking a little jokes here and there, but only where it's appropriate. But we're mostly addressing just the information. So we address atmospheric lensing and atmospheric refraction as well. So, I mean, if we wanted to, we could go deep into that point, but I don't want to bounce around all over multiple different points. We can continue. So, okay, if that's the argument, is that it's simply it's not staying the same size. It's just atmospheric lensing and atmospheric refraction. Well, okay. Well, I would
sometimes here I watch the sun go down, and sometimes it's like this, and sometimes it's like that.
Exactly. It depends on how much clouds, how much the sun is obscured by cloud footage, or how much much the light.
It depends on the refraction index, and it depends on the atmosphere and how dirty and polluted it is. Simple.
Yeah, that's true. That is a factor that does come into account occasionally, sometimes, not all the time. But here's another time-lapse footage. So here's another main point. So if you use a time-lapse footage of the sun, so here's footage of what on the flat Earth we could consider is the celestial sphere and the sun both fixed together. So this is a time-lapse GIF. You can look up this GIF on Google. You can just type in time-lapse sunset GIF, and you'll find this image of the sun setting beneath the horizon. And you can see also the celestial sphere, how they're both fixed. The sun is fixed to the celestial sphere.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
What does that tell you? That they are all turning together. The same
exactly.
with comets. They're all set in the firmament, because we have a firmament above our heads.
So let me finish the point, explaining this on the video here real quick.
And the same fixed angle as they set beneath the horizon, which shows and proves to us that it is because of the Earth's tilt and the Earth's spinning on its axis, which is why it appears that the sun and the celestial sphere are both moving at the same fixed rate of speed and angle as they cross beneath the horizon. And we know this is because of the Earth's rotation, rather than in the flat Earth model. They think it's because the celestial sphere and the sun are both fixed, rotating above around the stationary flat Earth, which is not the case, because if that was so, then you would not see the angle of the celestial sphere and the sun going beneath the horizon at that angle, almost perpendicular to the horizon of the Earth. Instead, they would be rotating at a parallel angle above the horizon of the Earth, and so, which means the sun would never set, since it is fixed at the same speed as the celestial sphere, as we notice and observe with our eyes in reality. And so again, this angle of the celestial sphere.
So you have it. If the sun was fixed to the celestial sphere, it would be going horizontally above the flat Earth. So the sun never sets above the flat Earth. It never goes beneath the horizon. So it would not be at a perpendicular angle to where we're standing on the Earth, the horizon. It would not be perpendicular and going beneath the horizon, as we clearly observe in all the footage of the sun setting beneath the horizon. It does not, the celestial sphere does not circle at a parallel angle to the flat Earth, to the horizon.
Yeah,
it doesn't do that.
That's simply because of your perspective. That's a massive perspective warp, and you should know that. You should know if you get a spoon and face it to you convexly, your image will be upright. If you turn it around concave, you're flipped upside down. We're talking about a concave, transcendental torus field that the sun is inside of. We're not talking about a mechanical clock here that is rigid, or that is something that is tangible. The sun is not tangible, just like a rainbow. You'll see a rainbow, the guy next door can't see it, but it's because it's not tangible. The sun is just a condensed rainbow. And as it turns and it curves, that's where the vanishing point is. You cannot see past that vanishing point. It's just curving below because it's so far away, it seems to go down, but it does not. And all of the scriptures concur this. If you're not a scripture guy, that's great. Let's leave that for posterity, because I am. And I know that what is being taught today is pseudoscience, Copernican, New Age bullshit. I'm going with the ancients. I go with all the ancients. They were smart. They built Tartaria. The Jesuits destroyed it, and they created globalism because they knew, contrary to what you said before, they knew that there were going to be many voyages across the sea, and they knew that people were just going to work out that it's flat. So they had to start deluding the people. That's why it took them 200 years of opium wars with China to destroy and infiltrate their universities and destroy their square, flat Earth model.
So you're saying the Earth is square now?
Well, they had a square version. Yes, there is a squareness. There are four corners within the roundness of the Earth. There is a fourness to it. There are four pillars, according to all the scriptures, even the Quran.
Where are the pillars located?
They are at the outer edges of the plane. That's why I'm thankful that you call it a planet, and not. I'm glad before that you said you called it a planet, not a globe, because planet simply means plane. So every time you use the word planet, know this.
Plane of Eartha.
Yeah, planet of Eartha, the plane of inertia, which is the only place in which a torus field in matter can happen on the plane of inertia. If you don't know that, you haven't been watching enough of Schallberger, Steinmetz, Ken Wheeler, and you don't know anything about magnetism.
Except we can
in a torus field, the only place where matter can happen is on the plane of inertia, which is the inertia Earth, planet of Earth.
Yeah, every single object in nature wholly spherical is not flat as a plane. There is no object in nature that is a flat plane except for like snowflakes. Everything else is a full spherical object, especially water, which is why one of the main flat earthers' main arguments is, oh, well, water never curves, and oh, it's ridiculous. How could water form a ball? How could a ball form that's the main thing that everything in space does, is it forms a perfect sphere. Without gravitational influence, everything forms a sphere in nature. Everything is spherical, and so we can have Ken Wheeler on here, and we can ask him himself about electromagnetism and whether the Earth is flat or not. Why don't we just ask him? Why don't we not reference him and instead just have him directly on and explain himself? Why don't we ask Steinmetz themselves? Why don't we read the writings of Tesla and see his journals about how the Earth was spherical, how he knew the Earth was a sphere and he measured it, and he was going to build his Tesla coils across the globe in his own drawings of spherical drawing. I mean, none of these people were flat earthers that you're referencing. You're misrepresenting.
No, that's incorrect. Marconi, the inventor of the Earth, of the radio, he said.
Not talking about Marconi. I'm talking about Tesla. Tesla's journals. I've got it here in my documentary. I've looked up the exact time stamp. I'm not sure exactly where, but here somewhere.
Marconi and Pierluigi Ghina have proven that the Earth is flat with their experiments. They've proven it. I've made a video on it. You can see my video with Pierluigi Ghina on my YouTube channel, folks, where he proves that the Earth is stationary in his laboratory. Have a look at this sun. Can you see this sun? How different is this to the sun you showed us before? Why is this sun different?
What about it?
Can you see the hydrogen being poured into it? You were showing pictures of the sun before. It looked rather CGI. This
what
looked 100% CGI.
Now, if anything, that one looks CGI.
This is actually real footage, dude.
Okay, where's it from?
Well,
see, there went a bird flying in front of it. So that proved nothing. That's again, that looks like it's filmed with a solar filter, as opposed to well, actually, no, that's not a solar filter. But yeah, what you're seeing is the atmosphere around the edge of the sun. So I mean, so what? What about it?
You're seeing the hydrogen pouring into the sun because it's a hydrogen portal.
Yeah, the sun is hydrogen. Yeah,
so your filter sun there. I mean, it doesn't match up to this. One of them, either one's wrong. Either this one or yours is wrong.
Yeah, mine's not wrong because anyone can do it. And Wolfie showed the footage I showed you is from Wolfie's footage of the sun filming with the Coronado telescope with a solar filter on it. I mean, again, I can go back and show you. I can show you the exact. Anyone can do it for themselves. And I encourage all flat earthers, buy a Coronado hydrogen alpha telescope and buy a solar filter and do it yourself live on screen. Show it. Take Wolfie up on his channel. He even offers to buy you guys the tools to do these experiments yourself. He's very well off. He's a commercial pilot. He buys all of these toys, all these technological tools. He buys tons of drones. He buys tons of telescopes. He buys all this software, and he offers to buy you guys expensive cameras, expensive telescopes, and he will let you do the experiments for yourself. You can do this for yourself. I mean, anyone can do it.
This is the photo of the Earth, Cullen. That's thousands and thousands.
That looks pretty CGI to me.
That's a photo, brother. That's not a CGI. We don't do CGIs here. I'll show you the globe CGI.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Santos.
They're all globe CGI.
Those photos there.
CGI to you?
Those photos, those are actually photoshopped. They're photoshopped to make the horizon flat. They yes, they are, and I've proven that. I can show you.
This is a picture from my friend. My friend took this picture from Australia, from Queensland. Sorry, brother.
With what? A balloon? A weather balloon?
What about these Bolivian salt flats? 400 square miles of flat.
4,000 square miles.
4,000 square miles.
That photo is depicting 4,000 square miles.
They know that the Bolivian.
That is a very limited. So I mean, I will fully. I'm gonna. Currently, I'm on a guide strike on YouTube because someone flagged another one of my videos that had already been removed. I just got my channel back up. It had been deleted for the past 4 months. So I won't be able to upload until maybe sometime next week, and then I'm gonna upload this full 4.5 hour flat earth video that goes through every single one of the points, and that's the video that I'm referencing here on showing you the points on the screen.
Can you see those clouds hundreds of miles away? Can you see the gap in between them? Can you see how far that lake goes? 4,000 square miles. This is a fact that this lake is 4,000 miles square and it's 100% flat. They call it the mirror of the Earth. Impossible on a globe. Totally.
It's not impossible. It's not impossible on a globe. See, the way we know this is called geodatic surveying. There are no flat Earth geodatic surveyors in the community. There are some flat Earth surveyors. That's true. My friend Jesse Kolazowski, he is a geodatic surveyor. He has a channel and he addresses all these things on his channel. He shows all the manuals that account for geodatic surveying, how they measure the curvature of the Earth in their surveys. But there's two different types of surveyors. Not all surveyors. So there are flat plane surveyors and those are the ones that the flat earthers are, because they aren't geodatic surveyors. They're not the ones that take into account the curvature of the Earth in their surveying of the land. So we could survey those salt flats and show with objective measurements using a tool called a theodolite. A theodolite uses a plumb line, which is basically, it's the Earth's center of gravity. You basically let a string hang down like a pendulum, and that is the direct center of gravity. And then you align your theodolite directly to the line of, is it the line? I don't think it's the line of sight. I think that's a misnomer. I'm not sure. It is over my head. It's way too complicated for me. I don't pretend to know about that stuff, but I refer directly to them. I refer directly to him, but they take into account and they show the measurements of the curvature of the Earth. We can see this with our own eyes. I mean, I could show you the footage with our own eyes, the curvature of, but I was just about to get into, let me just show real quick, this quick clip from Rep.
How is it possible, if you can see this, how is it possible to see 7 states of the US from one position? I don't get that. You can see 7 flat states. You can see Tennessee. You can see Kentucky. RC Dakota. No, what's that? RC.
That's
South
North
Carolina, Georgia, Alabama. What? North Carolina? Okay. South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama. How is that possible? I mean, how is that possible on a globe? It's just not possible. There's your proof. Look how flat that horizon is. It should be curving. It should be curving horizontally.
Okay, let me show you. Well, first, I want to show you this clip of the revelation of the pyramids about the ancients' knowledge in the great, encoded into the mathematics of the Great Pyramid, how they accounted directly for all the measurements of the earth. So let me share. This clip is not very long. It's less than a minute long, I believe. It's very short.
Dude, I used to read Peter Le Mesurier on the Great Pyramid and all of his ways of calculating that it was a symbol of the globe Earth. And Peter Le Mesurier is totally delusional. He makes me laugh.
Yeah, well, there are ancient, such as Agatharchides, and back in thousands of years ago, who knew the spherical measurements encoded in the Great Pyramid of Giza, as they documented in the revelations of Agatharchides, thousands of years ago. This was far predating the Jesuit order, Pythagoras. It was even the Eratosthenes, or maybe it was after the Eratosthenes. But ancient Greeks knew about the spherical Earth because they got this information directly from the Egyptians themselves, who got it from the global civilization, who built all of these sacred sites all over the globe, and they aligned the sacred sites, aligned according to the spherical globe model. Aligned in. So let me share this real quick. Screen share.
No, they actually didn't. But
well, let me show you, and we can see the information, and then we'll comment on it. Let me change the playback speed to a little bit slower. Speed. Track those lines, directly align them to Gunung Padang in Malaysia, Sukhothai, Thailand, Cambodia, Angkor Wat, all these other various different sacred sites and temples all over the globe were strategically aligned to certain latitudes. So they had very advanced mathematical knowledge of how to circumnavigate the globe and to travel across continental. So there were a select few people who knew how to do that, and this was probably a much more advanced civilization, predating all of this cosmology that we're talking about in the stories of the primordial turtle, the cosmic turtle, and the flat Earth, and all of that stuff. Because none of this was actually a flat Earth cosmology. That is just very recent, in recent times.
And between Mohenjo-Daro and Easter Island. The distance between Easter Island and Giza is 10,000 times the golden number. The distance between Angkor and Giza multiplied by the golden number equals the distance between Giza.
And so briefly, just to explain this is well documented in modern geodesy and in modern global flight plans. In the hand manuals, it's I forget, Noah talks about it later on, but I forget what it's called exactly. I think it's called a spherical triangle. I think that's what it's called in geometry and geodesy. It's a spherical triangle. That's how they measure different points on the globe, and that's how they measure their flight plans as well. But let's continue with
Nazca. And the Giza-Nazca distance multiplied by the golden number equals the Nazca-Angkor distance. As surprising as this seems, it ties in with some earlier discoveries about the pyramids. In the 20th century, an astronomer and priest, Moreau, showed the meridian.
So in the 20th century, so in the early 1900s, Moreau, astronomer priest, he's the one that, I don't know if he's the first one, but I doubt he's probably the first one. He probably got this from somewhere older. About the measurements of how the Great Pyramid is smack center of the landmass on the globe. It's the center of all the Earth's landmass. Using these measurements,
passing through the Great Pyramid, divided the land of the Earth into two equal surfaces, making Giza the central point on the planet. 20 centuries before him, Agatharchides argued that the Great Pyramid was the geographic reflection of the Earth. And the length of the two sides of the Great Pyramid was...
So there's your four corners of the Earth a square of the square of four corners of the earth. Sphere is cubing the sphere, squaring the circle, the mathematical geometry of the globe of the earth. So yeah, you could use that to argue, oh, well, there's the 4 points of the corners of the flat earth, but it's actually derived from spherical geometry.
So the average distance a point on the equator moves through space in 1 second.
This is a given in physics, indicating the speed of the rotation of our planet on its axis.
Every aspect of the Great Pyramid.
So I did, again, the math and the numbers and all that stuff, that does go way above my head, but for real experts out there, real high quality experts, like they can understand this more deeply than I can. So that they just explained that the measurements of the Great Pyramid account and directly correspond to the speed at which the Earth rotates. So it's, again, I mean,
They're actually measuring the speed
through
of
space.
It's
the speed of the ether.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the ether's moving, the Earth is still. It's stationary.
Through space in 1 second.
This is a given in physics, indicating the speed of the rotation of our planet on its axis.
Every aspect of the Great Pyramid is stuffed with significant numbers that connect to the world.
Okay, so I guess that's it. I go through the mythology of the great turtle, where they likened this is where the origins of the myth of the turtle that held up the flat Earth, where it comes from. It's because the turtle swimming through the ocean literally looks like the land mass floating in the middle of the Earth, in the middle of the cosmic sea. And I mean, but all of that is irrelevant. That has nothing to do with the actual objective measurements that we can observe with our own eyes about a fully functional model of the Earth. All that accounts for every single phenomenon that we know in nature, including which the flat Earth model, it doesn't have a single functional model. Like you have yet, the main thing y'all have to do is you have to show a fully functional model. That
I've done it. I've done it. Please, folks, look at this video here.
You have not.
I have done it. Absolutely.
It does not. It does not fully. It does not explain. It does not explain circumpolar star motions. It does not explain the axial. It does not explain axial precession.
It does. Plain Earth is scientific. Globe Earth is not. Please watch this on my Mr. Astrotheology. This is how the Earth is. It's in between two torus fields. It's a flat Earth, and this video actually proves it. But I just want to show you something really, really funny. You guys think that the flat Earth was, turned up in 2014. In fact, comedians and famous people like Reggie Watts, they were making fun about this in 2000. This is 2012, but it was earlier than this that he gave a TED talk, and this is what he said.
Of our non-understanding and our partial understanding to the networks of which we all draw our source and conclusions from. So, as I say before the last piece, feel not as though it is a sphere we live on, rather an infinite plane which has the illusion of leading yourself back to the point of origin.
So here's
that proves it. That proves it. That's pure science right there. That is science.
Yeah. So you guys think that we just turned up in 2014 with Eric Dubay.
You did.
The flat Earth has never ever disappeared from the minds of men. In fact,
it started with the Jesuits back in the 1500s with the flat Earth, the myth of the flat Earth. It was well known that everyone before that knew the Earth was a sphere.
No. Look, hang on a minute.
Since at least the ancient Greeks, the Eratosthenes, we knew the Earth was a sphere, and we had advanced geometric mathematics to prove that. And all of the ancient sites, there was an amazing documentary. I can't remember the title of it. I think it was on Spark Channel. It was like something like that.
Have a look at this. Pope Paul III Farnese, founder of the Jesuit, there it is, Alessandro Farnese, Pope Paul III, and here's Copernicus. Pope Paul was a significant patron of artists including Michelangelo, and it is to him that Nicholas Copernicus dedicated his heliocentric treatise. This is when the Copernican revolution began. It's all Jesuit. This proves that this Jesuit Pope who founded with Ignatius Loyola and the Borgia family, they funded Copernicus and just made the globe psyop. There it is right in Wikipedia. I mean, you don't have to do a lot of homework. It's right there. It's the globe is the Jesuit lie. Now, I'm going to leave. We're going to have to close off because we've done 2 hours. We can do another one another time. But
yeah, sure. We can do this anytime. And that's what I've been trying to do for the whole past 6 years is we can do this anytime. Like, it doesn't have to be this freaking battle, and especially not public defamation. Like, this is all I've ever wanted to do is simply actually show and discuss. And the more people we have like in these sessions, the better it is, because the more points and discourse there is to go back and forth, and the more we can discuss this stuff, which is all I've ever wanted to do. Like, I'm not sitting out here trying to attack anybody like everyone thinks that I have or anyone else has been. I don't do that. I want the evidence. I want to talk about this stuff. I want to show the actual evidence. We can do this as many times as necessary. We should do it often, until this whole thing is squashed.
Look, I know a lot of people who have done quite the opposite to what you've said, Cullen. It's not
me, and it's not anyone that I know.
Well, you ridiculed me for many years. You let that lie go on and on and on and on, and I just disproved it, proving that I was a flat earther. Early 2015, I can prove it, and there's other videos that I've done which I'm uncovering to prove it.
Yes, okay, I will concede that point. That yes, I made a misperception, and I'm not the only one. Everyone else also thought that you because all your old presentations include stuff that has nothing to do with flat Earth. All your old presentations do not fit in with the flat Earth model. Nothing about any of the old astrotheology presentations you did fit with the flat Earth model. Everyone else agrees with that. And so we all wondered what the hell happened to your personality, why you started attacking us after all of that.
Totally and utterly wrong. Everything I've done stands up to the flat Earth. In fact, I was using the correct Ptolemaic. If you go to my very, very first presentation, go back to the 8th of August, 2011, watch that, and you will see me using the flat Earth model, but using Copernican explanations to explain the flat Earth model. I was always using the flat Earth model from day go. So I'll leave you guys with this. Mirror why I'm a flat earther. 37 must-see experiments. Please watch this on Flat Earth Archive, and you can make one more comment before we dismiss the show, Cullen.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. I don't
Well, have
believe.
you got a video for someone to do some homework, some more homework? Because I just gave someone some homework to do.
Yeah. There's a website that I would recommend called flatearth.t. Is it TS or TW? Flatearth dot T TS or TW.
All right, guys. So all you guys listening, make notes of this and please do this research. I've seen most of these videos that Cullen's talking about. I know how to explain them on the flat Earth model, and I do have a model. It's the Ptolemaic model. I've never ever departed from that model. Never ever have I departed from the astrological model, which says the Earth is at the bottom, then Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Saturn, Mars, the firmament, the crystalline sea, and the primum mobile. And that's what you see, the blue sky above you. That's the dome over the Earth, folks. Otherwise, it wouldn't be blue. It would be black. It would be pitch black if it was space, but it's not. It's the actual firmament.
Yeah, except it's pitch black at night.
Yeah, because there's no light. But when the sun hits all of the noble gases during the day, it shows its true color, which is the copper cobalt, or iron oxide, or copper oxide. Cobalt or copper oxide. That's what it's made of. We've got proof of that.
Yeah, that's false. That's false. We can take an atmospherical sample of the measurements. It's not copper cobalt in the atmosphere. It's mostly hydrogen and oxygen and
I'm talking about the firmament.
And ozone.
The firmament is metallic. We've seen rockets crashing into the firmament. You can see, I've seen 2 rockets crashing into the firmament at about 160,000 feet.
Okay, well, I'm sure there's footage of rockets going beyond 160,000 feet as well. So
All right.
we
Well,
could-
let's see. You get those ones for next week or next time, and I'll get the ones where they crash into the firmament.
Okay. All right. And again, I would tell everybody to go to subscribe to Wolfie6020 on YouTube. He's the Royal Australian Air Force ex-military rescue pilot, and still a current licensed commercial pilot, still doing regular videos every week, weekly, showing all of this stuff live from his cockpit. You can ask him any questions. You can challenge him all you want. And he's one of the nicest, I don't want to say nice because I hate using that word. He's one of the most polite, kindest, and respectable, competent professionals that, I mean, he's a true upstanding guy. You know, like he's as kind and polite as they come. So he will treat you with respect. He will address all of your questions and concerns on camera. So I encourage everybody, just all flat earthers, to subscribe to him, leave him all your questions and comments, you know, do whatever you want. He will fully respond to everything any concerns that you have. So I will just leave it with that. All right. So yeah, good discussion. Let's do it again.
Alrighty. See you next time.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.